my husband forgot that there are gender roles. And so, let me think, it kind of caused some issues at first. But I'd say right now the gender roles in our family are, if he wants to eat, he does the cooking. He does the grocery shopping now. He is responsible for bringing in the biggest paycheck. I love doing the yard, and so I do most of it. But this summer my son had to help me out. I didn't have time to do it. So my son did a lot of it, and that was because that was his gender role. And I'm also bringing in income right now. I have for the last few years. I think since we have, our kids have left home, our gender roles aren't as defined as they used to be. So, now, the home I grew up in, they were very defined gender roles. My mother stayed at home, and she took care of the house. She may plant some things in the garden, but my daddy did all the yard. He did everything with the cars. If there was painting to be done, if there was, digging and yucky work to be done, he did that. And he never wanted my mother or me to lift anything heavy, because women are not supposed to lift heavy things because it hurts their female parts. Thinking it's in Timothy, but it might be Titus, where it says women are to be keepers of the home, and the older women are to teach the younger women how to love their husbands, inferring that that's not easily done. Then you go over to Proverbs 31, and you look at that woman, and she is Solomon's mother's hero. And so she was a businesswoman. She had real estate. She got up and took care of her family's needs early in the morning. I don't like that part. She took care of the household servants. She was in charge of everything. And her husband and her children rose up and called her wonderful, worth far above rubies. So, society that doesn't like Christianity wants to say that there are gender roles placed heavily in the Bible, whereas I really believe, especially in the New Testament, that women were freed from the bondage and from the lower view of them and raised to an equal level. Yes, early on it was an issue because I was used to my daddy doing certain things, and Keith was going, well, why don't you do it, And we have learned to work it out, and I had to learn to say, this is what I'm capable of doing, this is not what I'm capable of doing. Well, like one time he told me, go, pick out a car that you want, get ready, and I'll come sign the papers. And they wouldn't let me drive a car until I went and got my husband for a test drive. And another time he said, go down and get these tires put on the car. And I said, no, they'll rip me off. And he said, no, they won't. And I've already talked to him. I told him what tires to put on the car. And so, against my better judgment, I went and got the tires put on my car, and they put the most expensive tires on there. And so women do get ripped off, and there are some things I have that I have convinced him that we don't get the equal treatment that men do, and he does step up to the plate. I think one of the big gender role changes in us is that when we're moving furniture, and this is serious, okay? This sounds so silly, but it's serious. When we're moving furniture, for the first 25 years of our marriage, he had me backing. And now, if we're moving furniture, he's backing. I'm not backing for the last 25 or so years of my marriage when we move furniture. So, there you go.
Thank you.
My family, we kind of, there's a partnership where there's certain things where I'll do stuff outside. Angie may focus a little more on the inside, but it's definitely one of those things where Angie will say, "Hey, Josh, the dishes need to be done," or this and that. And so it's very team oriented. It differs a lot from the family I grew up in. My mom did everything, cleaning, dishes, made food. Even when I was in college and lived there, she did my laundry and made my bed for me even. And she didn't necessarily prepare me for married life very well in that regard. But that was okay. That's kind of where I came from, and it was a learning opportunity for me. I think that the Bible does promote gender roles, but maybe not from the standpoint as society says. I think, especially with the Bible, I think it's Ephesians 5 where Paul's talking about the woman submitting to the man and the man loving the wife like Jesus loves the church. And I think those are kind of, when I think of the gender roles the Bible promotes, that's what really stands out to me is the man loves the wife the way Jesus loved the church, and in doing so, and the wife feeling that, she respects the husband, and it's kind of this cycle. And so that's kind of what that's one that stands out to me, at least in the Bible. Yes. How do you deal with those? I kind of told you the way I was brought up. When Angie and I got married, that was a conversation we had, and she understood it wasn't necessarily fair for me to jiggle my glass and say I'm ready for some more lemonade or whatever, and at the same time it wasn't fair for her to expect me to rip up the carpet and put tile down like her dad did in any time. It took a blending of the way she grew up and the way I grew up, and really focusing on our marriage and our family. How do we want to those roles to be defined? I'd have to say if one probably gave more than the other, I probably gave more from the standpoint of realizing I did want a partnership with my spouse, not hey, this is what I'm expected to do, this is what you're expected to do. And so I think the way she was raised is probably the healthier way, and ours, while it may not look exactly like the way she was raised, it resembles her upbringing more than it resembles my upbringing. So there you go.